The rear suspension of a vehicle equipped with a solid rear axle is made up of links, control rods, coil or leaf springs, and shock absorbers that connect the rear axle assembly to the frame. The springs compress and expand to absorb wheel impacts from bumps and cushion the vehicle's ride. Shock absorbers dampen the springing motion from the coil springs to provide a smooth ride. The upper control arms mount to the top of the axle to the vehicle's frame to prevent side-to-side motion and to allow adjustment for fore and aft axle adjustments. The lower control arms also maintain the fore and aft position of the rear axle. Shock absorbers take the vertical motion of the springs and apply a dampening force to limit the amount of travel and prevent continuous bounce. Inside the shock absorber, a liquid or gas fills the reserve tube. A shaft runs through the tube along with seals that limit the amount of fluid that can pass by. As the shock absorber rod moves, fluid or gas transfers from one side of the reserve tube to the other through channels. Because the fluid or gas is limited in the quantity and speed that it can move, the shock absorber quickly slows the spring's travel and stops the bouncing motion. If the reserve tube leaks out or an internal seal fails, the tension on the shock is reduced dramatically. Failed shocks won't stop the bounce from the springs, and you'll feel an excessive bounce or the feeling of bottoming out. This is when the shock reaches the end of its upward or downward travel. You'll also likely notice banging or clunking noises over bumps, and may see fluid leaking under your car at the wheels. If you have a broken or worn spring, your car can sag to one side, which can cause an uncomfortable feeling of rolling, and your handling can be compromised.